for all of us to see?
This is free men versus slaves. And
Actually, I'm sorry. Why don't you go ahead and explain what the assignment is first before you explain your artwork? What was the assignment about?
Our assignment was my painting and my drawing. What we were doing for our arguments is so we did like representation of slaves, and so the white rich men's life is like very easy and it's like very like glamorous. Since purple and royal blue are my technically like my rich colors that kings, queens, royals, and people who have a lot of money wore, and gold is just like representation, all the gold that they have, and then being a slave is like all dark and gloomy because they're like worked to the death, and there's like sharp edges everywhere representing how hard their life is.
Anything else you guys want to add about? Yes, please do. Yeah. Okay, and at this point, audience, if you have any questions, and you can, refer to them in present day now. Any questions at all that you want to ask them?
yeah, no.
Okay. So you mentioned how slaves weren't counted. Like you said that you wanted to. Oh, you guys did a great job. And you said that slaves were counted as humans, but they wouldn't be able to vote. And you said that would be good. But you didn't mention how women were counted as humans, but they weren't able to vote. I feel like that would have been a really good thing, and I want to know why you didn't add that, or why you didn't mention that.
Well, first of all, I want to add in, because I couldn't say this, is that anti-federalists actually didn't believe that slaves were humans. They were saying all of that to get more votes in the Congress. They really, they treated the slaves terrible, and they really did not believe that slaves, for 1 second, were human. But, back to your questions about women, I don't know, we haven't thought of that. It's just we've been so slave focused. Yeah, Liam?
You guys spoke really well, and I could tell that you guys worked on it. The slaves weren't counted as full humans, but let's say they were counted as full humans, where they lived, and then they were taken, and then they came here and they were counted as full humans. How would you feel if that happened to you?
Bad.
So it's basically if you guys are counted as full humans, then you guys are taken and you guys are not considered full humans. Shouldn't they at least, so if that happened to you, it wouldn't be fair. You guys were, so why don't you guys just have the same respect for them?
Because we're really selfish people. All we want is power.
That's what the anti-federalists were like. That's not what the federalists were like. The anti-federalists, they didn't care about the slaves. They did whatever they wanted to the slaves.
They just tried to stop us from.
Yeah. And also, the Federalists, they said that they didn't want slaves to be counted in the census because they were classified as 0% human before. So it's basically you've already classified slaves as property. You can't just go back on that. So that's what their main argument was. Izzy?
So you guys said that slaves, even if they were you guys were reading and you guys all spoke really clearly and it's really entertaining to watch. So you said that even if the slaves were considered human, they would still be a property. So would that really any slight difference
Well,
to
it's
them?
supposed to. If it is, I don't know.
I don't think that the southern states cared about how the slaves felt. I mean, from my opinion, I think that they didn't think that it would make a difference for the slaves. The whole reason they wanted slaves to be considered human was for their own benefit, nothing for the slaves. They still wanted slaves. Like they wasted men and boys over slaves in the Civil War. So they would do whatever it took to still have slaves.
Last question.
Jeremy?
Well, I really liked your painting. I mean, it was really nice, and you also you gave really well, made a lot of good points. My question is, you said that they were humans, but you also said that it's still your property. So it doesn't make a difference if you say that they're still your property, because that's basically saying they're slaves and that they're not human anymore.
Yeah.
So what's the point of saying that in your argument?
It was so they could get more representation in the government. They were trying to get more representation and more power remember they're like small states which don't have a lot of people but a ton of slaves. So they want to try their best to get like more representation in the government, and they didn't care if they were playing dirty.
Yeah, they definitely were.
Thank you so much.